Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Good Boxing Podcast with your host, Josh Size. And I'm going to jump right in. Finally, boxing is back, and we have fights notable to talk about. But the first one I wanted to talk about was the long awaited return of Keith One Time Thurman. The last time we saw Keith Thurman was against Manny Pacquiao, and he suffered a feat that was shocking to many. But all in all, losing to Manny Pacquiao is really no big deal. You lose to Pacquiao, you move on, and you get better. And honestly, the fight with Mario Barrios this weekend was what I expected it to be. I either thought Keith Thurman would go out there, be cautious, box just to get rounds under his belt. I mean, let's be honest, you're out the ring for over 2 years. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel ring rust. You're going to want to get it off. And the only way to get ring rust off, the only way to get it out of your system is to fight. You can spar all the rounds you want. You can do it all. I mean, look at Gary Russell Jr. He hadn't been in the ring for 2 years. You know, Gary's been sparring. You know, he's practicing hitting the bag, staying in shape. But nothing compares to getting those rounds in. And Keith Thurman did well. He was boxing well. I had it a pretty wide decision. Keith Thurman hurt Barrios a few times, but you can tell he was just trying to get the ring rust off. Shout out to Barrios. He really is a warrior. And he had moments. You can tell 147 really isn't the weight class he should be at. I know he's tall, but if you look at his body frame, his arms, his fists, they were a lot smaller than Keith Thurman's. Thurman, yes, was shorter, but you can tell he's a full-fledged 147 pounder. Barrios had moments, hurt Thurman to the body at one point, but other than that, I didn't really see any real threat from Mario Barrios. And sometimes, just like Errol Spence and Mikey Garcia, Mikey Garcia wasn't a 147 pounder, and it showed. Didn't mean that Mikey Garcia wasn't good. Didn't mean that he sucks or anything like that. It just means sometimes you're outclassed. And in this fight, that's what you saw. Keith Thurman was using a nice, good rhythm, stepping to the side, using defense, making a miss, getting the timing of Barrios, working on defense, working on getting back in the pocket and hitting someone with fight power. Again, in practice, it's not the same. Like, sure, you're in the ring, it's just not the same. And to get out there and see him do what he did, I'm very, very proud of Keith Thurman. And I think after this performance, he should go after a bigger name and a bigger, basically, task to conquer at 147 pounds. I don't know if he's ready for like a Terrence Crawford, someone of that nature. Errol Spence may be too much of a tall order. But now you got the guys like Virgil Ortiz, you got Jaron Ennis Boots. There's guys out there he can fight. And especially with PBC being the 147-pound mecca, I'm sure these fights are going to be made. And if this pay-per-view wasn't a success, I can see him being matched up with a bigger opponent. I think Keith Thurman can give anyone at 147 pounds trouble. Sure, and in this Barrios fight, he was getting the ring rust off, but I don't think he has to get another fight to propel himself into that 147-pound picture. He lost to Pacquiao and then took a long hiatus. Doesn't mean that he's not Keith One-Time Thurman. You do need time in the ring, and getting 12 rounds, even if it wasn't the masterful performance you want, now you can know what to work on. You can know what feels uncomfortable. You can practice what you really felt wasn't natural anymore, things that you used to be able to do. And in this one, just maybe couldn't. The power is still there. Guy's a tremendous puncher. Barrios can take a tremendous punch. I mean, he took it from Gervonta Tank Davis. And sure, Davis knocked him out, but Thurman, if he wanted to, could have, in my opinion. I think he really just wanted to get rounds in and get back in the ring and feel it. I think a fight like this, is a lot better for you getting ready for a Terrence Crawford or a big name versus just knocking someone out. You need that time in the ring. You need to test your conditioning. Where was I lacking? Things of that nature really get you back into it. So overall, I'm very, very excited for Keith Thurman. I'm excited for 147 pounds again. I'm excited to see that boxing is back in general. And Keith, I think, immediately becomes a top 5 welterweight just based off his reputation alone. Fighting Pacquiao doesn't make you less than. You haven't been relevant for a while, but you did come back. And now I'm curious to see what's next. Who would you like Keith Thurman to see? Who would you like to see Keith Thurman fight? I personally don't think he should jump right to Terrence Crawford or someone like that. But in my opinion, if they offer you the fight, take it. It's the only way you're going to make a lot of money. It's the only way you're going to get the kind of paydays you want, especially if this pay-per-view isn't a blockbuster in terms of sales. So that's the episode for today. Let me know what you think about Keith Thurman's performance down below. Thank you and have a great day.